Today what I'm going to be doing is demonstrating safety features and the features of this nice espresso machine that we have here in the foods class. It's important to realize that this is it's a really expensive machine. It's a nice machine. It's made in Italy. This actually costs like $2,300. That means like $2,300. This thing's kind of like the little Ferrari or Lamborghini of espresso machines. The things that you need to know are, this is called the steaming wand here, and what this does is it produces steam that goes down into the milk, and it both heats the milk and blows air into it as well, so that you get a nice frothy texture. It's what's called texturizing or stretching the milk. This is your steam wand. This is called the brewing head here. This is where we're going to load espresso beans in here, and the coffee is going to come out of the bottom. This is for doing hot tea. So water comes out like this, and this is the on-off lever for brewing coffee, as you will see, and as you'll watch the students do this as well. Some of the important safety things to know is you got to be really careful around this, because you can get a steam burn, and steam burns are worse than boiling water burns. Okay, let's talk about safety with the steam wand. These knobs here work on the same principles as a screw, screw and screwdriver. It's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Left is on. So you'll notice here as I turn this, it takes just a few turns to get it on, and the steam starts to come out there. So this means you're on like that. You don't want to get your hand underneath that steam. Be very careful of that. Another important safety feature is with this lever, either it's all the way down or it's all the way up. You don't want to leave it in between like that, because that leaves pressure in there, and somebody could get hurt with that. So it's either all the way down or it's all the way up. This one you won't use a whole heck of a lot. This is just like a knob on your sink. You can get your water out of this and turn it off. You do not need to turn these tightly. This is a really well-made machine. You don't have to crank on it. Just getting it, I'm just barely using my fingertips. Okay, so let's talk about how we brew a coffee, because that's what this is all about. This little machine here is what grinds the coffee beans. This is made by Breville Company, which is the company that the guy represented from the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. To get it going so you can see the screen, you touch any button like I just did. Now, you see here it says one shot. This is your one shot brewing piece here, your brewing cup. This is for a double shot. See how this is a double? You see how this one is actually quite a bit bigger. So you have your double shot, your single shot. Here's your single shot. There's your double shot. This moves it back and forth. It goes back down to one. This is your fine adjust right here. So for one shot, let's say you want a little bit more than one shot, you can go up like this. Let's say you want a little bit less than one shot, you can go down. The reason why we have to fine-tune and adjust this is this was not made by the same company as this. So one shot doesn't mean exactly one shot on this. You have to tweak this around a little bit. The way we work it here, and 95% of the time you're going to be doing single shots. You're doing a single shot, is you have one with 2 bars down. If you want a double, you go like this, and you go 4 bars down. And that makes the right amount for the machine. So let's go back to 1. And do 2 bars down. Now you make sure there's enough beans in what's called the hopper here. And you put this back behind. And then I'm going to hit start. Okay, now I'm going to take my coffee, I'm going to equalize it like that, and I'm going to use the tamper here, I'm going to press it down. It's important that you press down flat like this. If you go at an angle, then that means the coffee in here is going to be angled, and it'll be thin here and fat here, and the water, which is under super high pressure, is going to run right through where it's thin, and it's not going to go through where it's thick. So it's important to get a nice even press like that. I like to wipe that clean a little bit. Now let's go ahead and load it into the brewing head. If this were a clock right now, the top were 12 o'clock and this is 6 o'clock, it loads at about 7 o'clock, about like that. You'll feel it slide up into place, and you just gently pull it over to about the 6 o'clock position, and now this is ready to run. So let's get our milk ready to go. Our coffee is ready to go, and our milk needs to be ready to go. I'm going to load 1 cup of milk into the steaming cup. Oftentimes we'll have the cafeteria milk, and the little cafeteria milks are 1 cup. So you just pour that in, you don't need to measure. Let's talk about texturizing milk. You need to get your thermometer, and with the thermometer we're going to go to 145 degrees, and we're going to stop at 145 because it's going to coast up to 150. Kind of like when you put your brakes on in a car, you don't stop immediately, you keep going. Same thing with this. So you notice here that I've got the mark at 145. So when my thermometer gets to that, that's when I'm going to turn off the steam. Let me show you how you're going to want to put the milk onto the steam wand. I'm going to get a towel like this so I don't burn myself because it's going to get hot. And I'm going to put the thermometer over to the left of the handle so that it wants to stay over here. It doesn't flop around like this. It's going to stay there. And now I'm going to put this at an angle, not flat, but at an angle. And I like to hold it against this for a little stability. Kind of like if you're rock climbing, you want like your hands and feet on the base of the rock. I like to have this against it so I can feel it and I can hold on to it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get the steam wand just barely underneath the milk so it grabs air when it goes in and it texturizes. And you're going to turn it on. About 5 turns, and now I've started. Okay, so let me show you the close-up view. What I'm going to try to do is get a whirlpool going here so that it just barely blows steam in. Okay, this here is an example of your textured milk. This is not a very good one. This has the bubbles on it are too big. That was a bad job I did of steaming it, but I was trying to get the camera involved. What you can do is if the bubbles are too big, you want really super fine little bubbles, so you can knock it down like this. Let's talk about how long it takes for this coffee to brew. You saw earlier how I loaded the ground espresso. This is a 1 ounce cup. To brew this correctly, it should take about 25 seconds to fill this 1 ounce cup. If it only takes 5 seconds and it's coming out too fast, that means it's not loaded correctly. It's like rocks in a river stream. If they're too big, the water just flows right around them. You don't pick up any coffee flavor. If it's like dust and it's packed too tight, the water won't even go through and you'll get nothing. So it's got to be perfect, which is about 25 seconds. Let's see how well I did. I have a feeling this is going to go fast because I don't have enough coffee in there. Let's see. Remember that we're going to go all the way up with this. I'll start my timer.
Deja. Did you hear me?
All the way up. There's 5.
Hold that.
10.
So I can rip it off.
15. Okay, so that was not loaded correctly.
We're in their video.
We're gonna try another one that's loaded correctly. Watch what I do to clean this. You have what's called the knock box right here. Take this, and there you go. Okay, it looks to me like when I just brewed the one that worked incorrectly, I didn't have enough coffee beans. So I'm gonna go ahead and readjust this from the less to right on the normal. Let's see if I can get the correct amount of coffee here. Ah, that looks better. Should be like slightly mounded like that. Okay, now we're gonna, remember how you press it down nice and evenly? And clean that off. We load at about 7 o'clock. Ah, that feels better. Okay, let's try this again and see if we can do it in 25 seconds. Five. 10. 15. 20. Okay, that's about right. It's that nice foamy root beer looking float head on there. That's the oils in the coffee that you've extracted that you can't get just like putting it through a regular coffee machine. And now we can go into a cup. Okay, I'm gonna make a couple of small drinks for my filmmakers here. So normally I would go into 1 cup. You'll see the other girls do that, but I'm gonna split these by going in halvesies here. And then you want to go and you want to hold back your foam. And you want to slowly pour that in.
That has nothing to do. Anything. No. Come here.
What? You don't even know what it is.
See your nails? You don't even have nails. Come stick your hand in here. I do have nails, by the way. I'm growing them.
And then when we get to the end, you get your foam on top. And those are beautiful little coffee drinks. The important things about the safety are this is all the way down and this is all the way up. You never attempt to remove this while there's pressure on. And when you're doing your milk, if you start getting scared, your impulse might be to pull away because you're scared of it. That's just going to make a big mess. If you get scared and you're going to get burned, if you start to get frightened, just put the wand, the steam wand, down to the bottom here so you're safe, where it can't hurt you, and just turn it off. Okay? Make sure you clean up after you're finished. So I'm going to knock this out. Spray that out in the sink. I'm going to spray these out in the sink. After each use, you want to turn on your steam a little bit. Get some hot steam on there. And you want the milk on the wand. Sometimes I will like to let a little water through so I can get the coffee out of there. And we leave it clean for the next person. Okay, so enough talking for me. What I'd like you to do right now is watch a couple of my students who've been trained up over the last half year. Watch how they do it. They're not going to say much, but just watch how they do things. And if you can do what they're doing, you too will be successful.